Hey guys, Israel here. I am jumping into the next video. I think this is the last one on a complicated math concept that we're going to make super simple, hopefully just truncate it down and make it super interesting and simple. And this is the idea of projective geometry. I'm not going to explain yet why we need to understand projective geometry, but I am going to try to explain what it is and what we mean when we say projective geometry. And I can just imagine that somebody's mind has already shut off. But I want to tell you that if you ever look at a piece of art, if you've ever drawn anything, you are using projective geometry because you're using the concept of perspective. And perspective means that as you see something in reality, you actually see it in sort of a curved way because what you're looking at reflects onto your eyes and onto the back of your brain. And we have to do that in reverse when we're making a piece of art. So for example, you can see all these elements here where there's perspective being created. This is in mathematics, it's called projective geometry. And what they're actually saying is that from one plane or one flat version of something to another flat version, you can shine a light through something and it actually creates a slightly different image. It converts it. So for example, you could take a flat image and project it onto a sphere or onto a balloon, and as the light passes through the flat image and then puts it onto the round surface, it's going to curve it. It's still the same character, the same design, the same whatever the design is, but now it's bent and it's bent onto something else. You can do it, I suppose, in reverse. Like you could have a circle with a light in the middle of it, and it's now taking a bent, curved, I'm trying to not repeat my words. It's taking like a bent or curved image and project it onto a flat screen. And then it has this other weird quality because it's kind of like unwrapping it. And so this whole idea of projecting from one surface onto another surface, and those surfaces having different shapes and contours, is the whole idea of projective geometry. There's a whole branch of mathematics that's dedicated to this, and you don't really have to understand much about that branch at all. I'm just going to be referring to the idea of projective geometry as I go forward with this series, because it's going to be a critical thing to understand. I know I've already introduced number theory. I've introduced the idea of number counting systems and decile systems and binary systems. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. I've also introduced the idea of systems. As far as I can tell, I've also introduced long line segments and short line segments, short line segments and long line segments, and the difference between long and short. So hopefully you've watched those videos up to now. I think this is the most complicated concept. If you can wrap your head around the idea that like projecting one shape onto another shape just creates kind of a different version of that first shape, that's all we have to really take away from here. But we have to allow our minds to recognize that that's happening around us. As we're looking at things, our eyes, our minds are creating a perspective, or they're absorbing the perspective to create a sense of reality. All of this is happening automatically. Our subconscious brain does this with information. But the people who create things for us, the people who create video games, the people who create CGI, they have to use this all the time because they are projecting shapes, onto our eyes, onto our minds. And so in order to do it in a way that our minds are tricked into believing CGI, you have to be a master at understanding this idea of projective geometry, projecting something onto another shape. And so that's the whole concept of projective geometry. Congratulations if you made it this far. Maybe Google a little bit about it if you want to learn more, but this is all you really need to understand, is that when I refer to projective geometry, this is what I'm referring to: a shape being projected onto another shape.